Dear brother, let's get into something. I put up a Facebook post the other day. If you want a healthy relationship, choose someone who acknowledges their wounds, not someone who pretends not to have them. I thought that thing was podcast worthy. In fact, somebody inboxed me and said, hey, can you do a podcast on that? Because it's real serious, man. You got to understand, with healthy relationship, man, a lot of times you'll come out of a relationship or go into a new one, and it's all about trying to present your best, be your best self. But just because you're trying to be your best self, or just because you're trying not to be who you used to be or carry the baggage, doesn't mean you don't have any, right? And a lot of relationships fall because you have two people trying to be in a relationship that's trying to act like they don't have any issues. And when you act like that, then ultimately what happens is you have these issues in the relationship. They pop up, they come up, and really it's not the person that's in front of you. You're dealing with something that came from behind. It's called baggage. It's the stuff we carry in our backs a lot of times. And when we carry it for so long, like, it seems light at first. It seems like nothing. Oh, that was just then. But you carry it long enough, you realize, man, that the only common denominator in a relationship is you, right? Or the partner that you're with. So I want to hit two angles on this podcast today: your baggage and dealing with somebody with baggage that they don't want to admit. See, wounds don't disappear, man. They don't. We just ignore them, right? They never go away. Suppressing your pain, it doesn't erase it. It's right there. It's always going to be right there. And it resurfaces in conflict, right? As long as it's peace and cool and everybody laughing and joking, it's not there. So the trick is, oh, I don't have no issues, or every issue that was there was the other person. No, get into some conflict and you'll find out that you're having the same issues with a new person. Remember that you're the common denominator, or you're with somebody who's ignoring their issues. So I don't want to keep on saying that. I want you to know that this could be you, right? Or the person you're dealing with. So either way, man, I'm just trying to help your relationship out today. It comes out in trust issues. It comes out when you start creating emotional distance, right? Self-awareness, man, that's why I talk about self-awareness a lot on our channel, man, because that's what it's really about. You can't, as a man, you can't wait for everything around you to change. You got to recognize certain things, whether it's in you or the other person. What self-awareness does, man, is to create space for growth, right? So that's why I warn you not to ignore what you're bringing and not to ignore what they're bringing, because these things don't just get better. Right? If you really want to grow in your relationship and you want your partner to grow, then there's got to be some self-awareness on both sides. See, the partner that you're with who acknowledges their struggle, there's more likely to be actively working on stuff, right? And fostering a place in their life where they realize this is personal. And they realize, hey, I'm not going to blame this person or put this person through what I've been through in the past. Right? It's the self-awareness is what frees the person, and self-awareness with you in the relationship, to be able to admit. That's the only way you can do this, man, is to admit, hey, this comes from this. Same thing with the woman you're with. Hey, she's being able to say this comes from that. A lot of women, a lot of times, man, don't want to really be honest about what they've been through, because they feel like it might tarnish your view of them. But in reality, man, our view gets tarnished of a woman who can't be honest. We don't really care what she's been through. It's the fact that not being honest about it feels like you're being tricked. I remember my dad said to my mom one time, I was young, but I'll never forget this. I was like maybe 10. Didn't know nothing about relationships, but I never forget him saying this. He said, is there anything ever wrong with you, or is it just always me? Am I the one who got to fix everything and I got to work on this and work on? Do you have any issues at all? And I heard that and I never forgot it. I've experienced that in my dating life with women, right? Do you have anything you want to admit? Or is it just me, right? So what happens is you become emotionally dishonest, right? And it builds, it breaks down the intimacy in a relationship. So what happens is vulnerability opens the door, right? Real vulnerability, it opens the door for real connection, not just we connected when we feeling good. But the real vulnerability comes in understanding. But you can't understand what you won't say, and you'll never understand what your woman won't say to you. See, denial will get you through a day, but ultimately it creates wounds and walls all at the same time. Unhealed trauma in our life, man, is there, and it breaks us down. A lot of us have experienced that, or you experienced that in your marriage or your relationship. Unhealed trauma, right? What it does is it creates cyclical pain. right? You're just in a cycle of it. Again, you want to blame the last partner. You want to blame this. But if you look and you say, look, I've been going through this with the last 5 people I've been with, right? Or your lady, she been going through the same cycle, right? I don't know how to tell you to make her to see that. But sometimes, man, you got to protect yourself from when you're with somebody who just don't want to admit, hey, my issues are not you, right? Sometimes it's what we call triggers, and I'm going to get into that in a second. But I really want to stay on this cyclical pain thing, because it's unresolved wounds, and what they do is repetitive destruction, right? It's repeat destruction, it's patterns in communication and conflict resolution, right? And emotional security. It just becomes repetitive. And again, a lot of you you're either doing this to somebody, or someone's doing this to you, or you could be doing it to each other, right? So you got to realize, man, that these unresolved wounds, you got to be careful, even as a man, that sometimes the unresolved wound, it becomes your responsibility to heal. But it's not your responsibility to heal, right? When you're in a relationship, it's not your responsibility to heal a person, to encourage them to heal, to be with them while they're healing. But as a man, it's not your duty to heal them. It's not. It's your duty to love them, care for them, be there for them. But it's not your duty to heal them, because you will never understand what somebody has carried for 30 years. Because healing is a lifelong process, man. It's not a destination you get to. And I really want people to understand that, even ladies who listen to this podcast. Healing is a lifelong process. It's not, I'm going to get to this place where I'm totally healed. It doesn't work like that, right? We're not really healed until it's all said and done. It's a continuous process, because we got to really understand this, and this will take a lot of pressure off you. It's not about being perfect, right? It's not about being perfectly healed, but being committed. You got to be committed on your way, right? You got to be committed on your way as you go, and be committed to the inner work that it takes. You got to be committed to that inner work that it takes for you to get where you got to go. Again, so you're not hitting somebody with a hammer that don't deserve that hammer, right? Accountability is big. Accountability is big. Again, for men and for women, it's big. Because accountability, what it does, it prevents projection. Now you're projecting on somebody else. That's not the thing to do, because you keep on projecting, man. You keep on throwing your dirt on somebody else. Eventually, man, the mountain of dirt is on them, and now you're seeing them as dirt, but it's your dirt you put on them, right? See, what happens is, man, when you have self-awareness and partnership, that means that each person is taking responsibility for their own emotions, rather than blaming the person they're with all the time and saying, look, these are my triggers. Right. They're your triggers. I went to a counseling session one time. I was in a relationship, and the person I was with, they kept on bringing up, he triggers me. And I never forget the counselor saying, whose triggers are they? Right? The question was, whose triggers? It's your trigger. So when somebody's just living their life and they trigger you, they're just living their life. They're talking, they're laughing, and they don't know you have that trigger. You do. Right? And so with that trigger, then you blame this person. No, your trigger is yours, right? Your partner's trigger is theirs. You can't take fault for just chilling and laughing or joking and doing what you're doing. Their trigger is theirs, and that's for them to deal with, right? So even when you talk about couples counseling and all that, what I found, I've been counseling people for years. What I found, man, is in reality is most of the time couples counseling is not the first thing you need to do. Because when you go to couples counseling, what happens is now these issues become about each other, when in reality, it's really each person bringing their own stuff to the table, right? That's why getting your stuff together, man, is good. And it's not that you're going to walk in a relationship perfect, but you're going to walk in a relationship aware that it's not fair to put on somebody 30, 40, 50 years of your stuff saying it's them. It's your trigger. See, when you understand this, man, both partners acknowledging their wounds, what happens is you become empathetic instead of angry. Oh, okay, I see, right? So a lot of times in relationships, we don't see each other that way. It's just what I want to feel, right? How I want to feel. And it's like, yo, this person brings a lifetime to this situation. So you need empathy between two people. You got to be empathetic, but empathy only is birthed through communication. I can only feel for you if you tell me why I need to be feeling this, right? It takes patience. It takes grace. when people are going through struggles. But with all this stuff, honesty is the key, so that you're not, again, throwing a heavy load on someone who has no idea or part in this situation. See, the only thing pretending does, bro, is it breeds resentment. Right now, you're resenting a person because you've pretended. It's not a good thing, man. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for you to do. Again, it is not a good thing for you to deal with. See, when you deny wounds, it only leads, man, to suppressing needs. You hear me? When you deny your wounds, it leads to suppressing your needs, which ultimately, man, can silently cause bitterness and irrational behavior in a relationship that you're trying to love, but really you're in your own way. So again, I keep on saying this because I want you to see this. Some of us are dealing with this as men. Some of us are with women that are dealing with this, and you're being crushed under the weight of their trouble, or you're crushing somebody under the weight of your own issues. So you want to be a man? Being a man is saying, I'm not going to make you carry my bag, right? And a grown woman or a aware woman is not going to make you carry hers, because she's going to realize, hey, I want to be in this relationship, but I don't want to put all my baggage upon you. See, healthy relationship is built on truth, not a bunch of facades, not I'm good. No, you got to be with somebody who's willing to admit when they're not good, right? Or they might not have been good coming into this thing. Or they might have come into a relationship, they love you, but they were looking for you to rescue them. That don't last long. See, real love is always going to thrive on authenticity, man. Not playing roles, not trying to act like, look, I'm brand new. Being in a new relationship don't make you brand new, right? Because masking pain to seem strong, it don't last long. Masking pain to seem whole, it don't last long. Because we're humans. It's going to come out after a while. So the goal that I want to get to you, or my goal in this podcast, is that you would start choosing healing. Right? Choose healing. Because choosing healing is choosing love. Self-love. So you can be your whole self for somebody else. A relationship, man, is strongest when both people commit to healing themselves. You hear me? When both people commit to healing themselves and supporting each other while they're healing themselves, not making each other carry the baggage. So choose love, bro. Choose love over your ego. And again, if you're with somebody unwilling to do this, you're going to be crushed, my man. You're going to be crushed. You might have to save yourself from that person, or you might have to save them from you. So whatever way this podcast goes, I hope it helps you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, a healthy relationship can only happen when you're with somebody who's willing to admit their issues. If not, you'll play a game, you'll end up being crushed. Hey, man, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Become part of the Dear Brother podcast community. It's where grown men grow more. Hey, I love you. Make sure that you love you. Walk this life out with no fear, no shame, and no compromise. And like we end every podcast, if this is your first one, pay attention. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. All we got is right now. What you gonna do with it? What you gonna do about it? Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's grow together, bro. Hang in there. I'm proud of you. Peace.